Do you recognize this structure? If Egypt has its mysterious pyramid standing for thousands of years amidst the desert storms, India has the architectural masterpiece known as the Taj Mahal, and China boasts the Great Wall. Cambodia, on the other hand, possesses the structures we are witnessing: the towering temples, intricately carved palaces, and vast corridors, all crafted from massive stone blocks, collectively forming the grandeur of Angkor Wat. Naturally, this place is hailed as the precious gem of the Cambodian temple country. The people of Egypt take pride in believing their ancestors constructed one of the greatest architectural marvels in the world. And the Cambodians share the same sentiment. You may find the patterns on this flag familiar. Indeed, they are symbols of Angkor Wat. Each time one gazes upon it, the question arises: who truly brought forth this greatness? We are entitled to doubt the true creators of these structures, because even our advanced science today struggles to explain how ancient people built wonders like the pyramids or Angkor Wat. The pyramids or Angkor Wat, the city of temples in Cambodia, how were they constructed? And who is the real mastermind behind the greatness of Angkor Wat? Let's seek answers to these questions in today's video. Angkor Wat is a temple complex in Cambodia spanning over 1.6 million square meters, making it the largest religious monument in the world. Western scholars have been astonished, finding it hard to believe that the Khmer could construct such a grand temple complex during the same period as ancient Rome. A Portuguese priest named Antonio de Madalena visited the temple in 1586 and was left speechless by its beauty and grandeur. He expressed that it was a construction so extraordinary that it could not be adequately described in writing, especially because it bore no resemblance to any other structure in the world. Its towering spires, intricate carvings, and delicate lines were feats only geniuses could achieve. Let's observe the overall map of the Angkor archaeological site. The prominent structure of this architectural ensemble is easily recognizable: the temples along with narrow corridors. Angkor Wat is a vast cluster of religious structures covering an area of 162.6 hectares, or 1,626,000 square meters. Angkor Thom, on the other hand, is the ancient and largest capital city of the Khmer Empire, spanning over 9 square kilometers. So, what we are learning about today is just one of hundreds, even thousands of large and small temples of this grand architecture. Angkor Wat lies within a moat and a 3.6 kilometers long wall surrounding it. The main temple complex has 3 tiers with rectangular architecture connected by deep corridors. The main temple complex is built in a pyramid-like shape with 5 central towers representing Mount Meru of India. According to legend, Mount Meru sits in the middle of the cosmic ocean, and that ocean is the deep and wide moat built around Mount Meru. The central temple of Mount Meru is a 3-tiered structure connected by deep corridors. The first tier symbolizes the underworld. Most notably about this tier are the intricately carved wall reliefs of the lower tier corridors, standing 2.5 meters tall and stretching over 800 meters. These could be considered the largest and longest hand-carved reliefs on stone in the world. Every corner of Angkor Wat and every centimeter of the temple is adorned with carvings. The meticulous carvings are so precise that one might mistake them for being carved on a pre-existing template. Without the aid of modern, advanced equipment, it would have been incredibly challenging for humans to achieve such intricate carvings. The temple was built on the principle of setting the stones first, then the architects began carving. Evidence of this can be seen in the columns on the first tier, which still bear traces of unfinished carvings. The lowest tier of Angkor Wat features water reservoirs that were once used for royal baths but are now dried up. On the second tier, symbolizing the earthly realm, there is a spacious courtyard surrounded by walls, within which are halls dedicated to various deities. The area of the second tier is where the drainage system for the entire temple complex is located. The third tier represents heaven and stands at a height of 65 meters, considered the abode of the gods. This tier consists of two intersecting cruciform galleries, with the central point being the center of Angkor Wat Temple. The central tower at the temple's center is the tallest tower of Angkor Wat, surrounded by four square-shaped galleries. At each corner of these galleries is a tower, and together, the central tower and the four surrounding towers form the famous celestial city of Angkor Wat. The stairways leading up to the central towers are divided into four faces, steeply inclined at about 45 degrees, narrow, and extremely difficult to climb. Within the grand chambers of the temple lies a particularly mysterious chamber, where faint sounds echo as if from drums, resonating in the void. Angkor Wat is a magnificent architectural achievement, demonstrating profound mastery in every aspect. It was built during the peak of the Angkor civilization and is considered the most precious gem of the Cambodian temple country. Angkor Wat is admired for its majestic and harmonious architecture, the richness of its sculptural art, and the multitude of deities adorning its stone statues. The central tower of Angkor Wat stands at 65 meters, taller than any church bell tower in Europe built before the 15th century. Beneath the grand towers are long, mesmerizing corridors, cool and refreshing with vibrant bas-reliefs. Angkor Thom, located 7.2 kilometers north of the city of Phnom Penh, is surrounded by walls reaching up to 8 meters high. Constructed of laterite stone, with parapets atop. Each cardinal direction, east, west, south, and north, has a gate. Time has erased almost everything, yet the magnificent complex of Angkor Wat still stands, almost unaffected by time. Its glorious past is evident in its vast scale and exquisite carvings. After many years, the ancient beauty and mystery remain intact. Perhaps the sandstone material sourced from Kulin Mountain has helped this structure withstand the flow of history. Angkor Wat's spectacular beauty lies in its being the perfect embodiment of Hinduism. Initially, This temple was built to worship the Hindu deity Vishnu. Angkor Wat is considered the microcosm of the Hindu universe. What's particularly noteworthy here is that Angkor Wat features over 3,000 Apsara carvings, celestial nymphs of Hinduism, each with different poses or expressions. Could the people of the 8th century have constructed such a sophisticated and intricate structure without the aid of science? Bayon Temple, built in the architectural style of Buddhism, consists of towers adorned with colossal stone faces with enigmatic smiles delicately carved. Each tower bears 4 faces of deities facing different directions. To this day, no one has explained the expressions such as smiles, sorrowful eyes, or thoughtful faces depicted on these statues. Even scholars and locals alike shake their heads in bewilderment. According to archaeological remains and ancient sources, this man is regarded as the one who built the great structures of the Khmer kingdom. Today, he is known as the legendary king who ruled the Khmer Empire from 1113 to 1145. Although this architectural complex still bears the contributions of many, overall, the reason modern historians consider King Suryavarman II as the builder of Angkor Wat is likely because of this. The bas-reliefs depicting him with Angkor Wat were found in this archaeological site after its discovery in the mid-19th century. But clearly, you also might feel a sense of unease when observing this bas-relief, right? What we want to address here is that compared to a grand, intricate, and complex Angkor Wat, the bas-relief of Suryavarman II appears too simple, small, superficial, and faded. If he truly was the creator of this masterpiece, his imprint would likely be much more pronounced. Why would someone who created such a great work be remembered so trivially by just one bas-relief? This raises the question of whether Suryavarman II was indeed the true master of the Angkor architectural complex. After the decline of the Khmer Empire, Angkor Wat gradually fell into oblivion. Until now, people still wonder why such a monumental construction could be forgotten by humanity. Some believe that bloody battles occurred, causing the inhabitants to flee. Others suggest that people left due to the shift in religion from Hinduism of the Khmer to Buddhism in the 13th and 14th centuries. There's also the notion that the water system in the city became unusable, prompting people to move elsewhere in search of water. Despite Angkor Wat being abandoned and gradually engulfed by the jungle, locals were aware of its existence. It wasn't until the 19th century, in 1860, that Angkor Wat was rediscovered by the French naturalist and explorer Henri Mouhot from within the dense jungle. Describing Angkor Wat, Henri Mouhot wrote, "One of these temples, a rival to that of Solomon, and erected by some ancient Michelangelo, might take an honorable place beside our most beautiful buildings. It is grander than anything left to us by Greece or Rome and presents a sad contrast to the state of barbarism in which the nation is now plunged." Like other early Western travelers, Muhat found it hard to believe that the Khmer could have built such a temple and thought its age to be contemporary with ancient Rome. The true history of Angkor Wat is pieced together from evidence of architectural styles and accumulated artifacts found during cleanup and restoration processes afterward. There are no ordinary dwellings or other signs of settlement, such as cooking utensils, weapons, or clothing typically found at archaeological sites within Angkor Wat, to prove that the Khmer people constructed it in the 13th century. Instead, the only evidence comes from the actual ruins. It must be noted that the reign of Suryavarman II coincided with a period when the Khmer Empire was on the decline. He is even believed to have been defeated and killed in the invasion of Dai Viet in 1245, at the peak of Vu Quang, Tan Hoa today. In 1250, the Kampa kingdom also briefly occupied Khmer. Therefore, it's highly improbable that Suryavarman II could have built Angkor Wat as historians often assume. Such monumental projects are typically built with the labor, resources, and sometimes even the blood and tears of the people of that era. To construct the Forbidden City, one of the world's great wonders, it took China 14 years with 1 million laborers and 100,000 artisans working continuously. This means it's difficult to imagine how an empire, not particularly powerful at that time, could have built a grand and massive structure like Angkor Wat. Where did the Khmer draw their strength from to construct it? If they were not the true masters of this structure, then who were the ones truly responsible for creating Angkor Wat? In recent decades, scientists have discovered that many famous ancient structures on Earth lie on a straight line. This line is called a ley line that runs around the Earth. And it's not just one such line that appears. Take a look at the ley line map on Earth to visualize it better. One such ley line runs through Easter Island, the pyramids of Egypt, the Nazca Plateau drawings in Peru, Angkor Wat, the ancient Persian capital of Persepolis, the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro, and the site that some recognize as the mythical continent of Atlantis. The astonishing thing is that this mysterious circular path has linked these landmarks within a margin of error not exceeding 1/10 of a degree of latitude, with the circle's center located in the southeastern part of the state of Alaska, USA. Nowadays, many people refer to these ley lines as the Earth's arteries. Why? Because they run through ancient structures with extraordinary architecture and contain numerous mysteries that neither humans nor modern science can explain. Many of us know that the structures lying on ley lines, such as Angkor Wat, are considered special constructions that couldn't have been built by ancient people in our 5,000-year-old civilization. For example, the Nazca Plateau drawings in Peru, the stone statues on Easter Island, and the city of Uruk of the Sumerians. Scientists have discovered signs that the pyramids and sphinxes on the Giza Plateau in Egypt were submerged in seawater for thousands of years, with evidence of marine erosion. This leads to the hypothesis that these structures must have been built much earlier than 2,500 years before Christ, or even the crazy idea that the pyramids themselves were ancient power plants, which is becoming more convincing as more evidence is found, which are over 100 meters tall and have very sturdy architecture. Furthermore, compared to the three Great Pyramids on the Giza Plateau. Other pyramids in Egypt are much shorter, with poorer architecture, less durability, and no signs of being submerged in seawater. This has led to the interpretation that the three Great Pyramids were built by a prehistoric civilization predating our 5,000-year-old civilization. The smaller pyramids were actually modeled and built by the Egyptians in our current civilization, causing confusion for future generations about the true origins of the pyramids. All of this begs the question, could Angkor Wat have been built by a prehistoric civilization rather than by the Khmer Empire in the 13th century? But is there any credible evidence for this assertion? Angkor Wat features carvings depicting extinct animals millions of years ago, as well as carvings of telescopes and the solar system. How could the craftsmen of this temple have known about events from millions of years ago and even events hundreds of years in the future? Who truly built this mysterious temple? Recent findings by Pravan Mohan, a blogger and amateur archaeologist from India, have provided compelling evidence that Angkor Wat, with technology from 900 years ago, would have been difficult to construct by the Khmer people. Pravan Mohan calculated that to build Angkor Wat, which covers an area of 1.6 million square meters, would require at least 10 million cubic meters of stone. Assuming that King Suryavarman II, the presumed builder of Angkor Wat, oversaw its construction for 37 years and that workers labored continuously for 12 hours a day, the total construction time over 37 years would be 9,723,600 minutes. This means that the amount of stone needing to be quarried would be equivalent to 1 ton per minute. The stone quarry at Phnom Kulen, located 80 kilometers from Angkor Wat, is considered the main source of stone for this project. However, it is easily recognized that quarrying, transporting a ton of stone over an 80 kilometers distance, and then processing and assembling it all within a minute is impossible. Even with modern technology, assuming that King Suryavarman II managed to mobilize 1,000 teams of workers to complete all stages of stone processing and assembly within 1,000 minutes, equivalent to 17 hours, is not feasible, with the primitive technology of Cambodia 900 years ago. How could people transport giant sandstone blocks weighing up to 1.5 tons and complete the vast Angkor Wat temple complex in just 35 years? This question has persisted for decades. Now, scientists have utilized satellite imagery, capturing crucial images. Through satellite images, a 32 kilometers long canal dug across the Kingdom of Cambodia can be observed, likely used for transporting sandstone. Many researchers speculate that these canals were dug to facilitate the transportation of stone blocks for temple construction. Compared to overland transportation routes, this waterway significantly saves time. It is the shortest transportation route and demonstrates how efficiently and systematically the ancient Khmer people built Angkor Wat. Researchers have found traces of canals while studying satellite images of the areas surrounding the Angkor Wat temple complex. They discovered traces of canals running straight from the stone quarries to the construction site of the temple. Upon surveying this area, they found some sections of the canal still containing water, while many other sections had disappeared over the years, either dried up or overrun by dense forests. The survey team also found large, square-edged stone blocks at various locations along the canal, possibly fallen into the water during transport by boats or brought to the shore for some reason. The network of canals runs from the stone quarry area at the foot of Mount Kulin, where archaeologists have discovered that this is the type of stone used in the construction of Angkor Wat. Archaeologists have also found another 50 quarries along the route that the canals passed through. Previously, experts believed that the massive stone blocks mentioned above were transported by land from Mount Kulin to a river leading to Lake Tunnel Sap. From there, they would be transported by boat to the Siem Reap River and then pulled up to the construction sites in the ancient capital of Angkor Thom. However, researchers say that the new discoveries show that the transportation route was much more efficient, significantly shortening the construction period of the massive structures in the ancient capital of Angkor in general and Angkor Wat in particular. Experts estimate that digging these canals only took a few years, and boats could be used to transport stones. With this canal system, there was no need to navigate against the Siem Reap River's flow, making it faster and more efficient to transport the massive stone blocks mentioned above. As a result, the Khmer people took only 35 years to transport 5 million tons of sandstone instead of hundreds of years. This seems to convince us that the Khmer were indeed the masters of the construction at Angkor Wat. But the following evidence might make you change your mind. We will easily notice the difference when observing the images of the deities carved on the structures of Angkor Wat. The deity statues carved on the stone pillars from the time of King Suryavarman II are very beautiful and smooth. The joints between the stone blocks are meticulously crafted, while the Buddha statues carved during the reign of King Suryavarman VII later are extremely rough and crude. Why is there such a stark difference in craftsmanship between two generations only a few decades apart? If it is claimed to be due to lost craftsmanship techniques, then it would take at least hundreds, if not thousands, of years to be accurate. Pravan Mohan also discovered a small stone tower within the Angkor Wat complex that was built very poorly, contrasting greatly with the size, technology, craftsmanship, durability, and aesthetic quality compared to other structures at Angkor Wat. Compared to Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom is quite ruined, and its architectural level is far inferior. Mohan believes that these ugly and unsustainable structures are the products created by the Khmer people 900 years ago. As for the grand structure of Angkor Wat, it may not be the legacy of the Khmer people of that time. If it was crafted at the same time, the difference might not have been so significant. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's hard to imagine someone creating the world's greatest masterpiece but being remembered so poorly, only with such unremarkable bas-reliefs. At one structure in Angkor Wat, there is a carving depicting the battle between the gods Vishnu and Indra. Mr. Pravan Mohan discovered a detail depicting a figure representing Indra using a strange object to observe the god Vishnu, which was identified as a telescope. Modern scientific history records that the telescope was invented by Hans Lippershey in 1608, 400 years ago. So how could the Cambodians have used this device 900 years ago? Did they perhaps possess their own time machine to explore beyond our imagination? This hypothesis is even more unbelievable. Another equally strange thing is that Pravan Mohan also discovered at a temple in India, believed to have been built in the 12th century, a carving depicting a battle between two gods, where one person is also depicted using a telescope to observe. Both individuals depicted are made of stone with extremely complex architecture, believed to have been built in the same century in two different countries, and both describe a telescope, an object considered unreal at the time of construction. This raises big questions for today's scientific community and two completely unfamiliar countries. Why would they have such a common point? Is it all just a random coincidence or something else? It's hard to believe, but this is not the most miraculous thing yet. On the stone wall at Angkor Wat, Mr. Pravan Mohan discovered a bas-relief of a four-horned elephant. This is a real species in history that went extinct 2 million years ago. Fossilized bones of this creature were found in Indonesia and are on display at the National Museum of that country. So, 900 years ago, when archaeology was not yet developed, how could the sculptors have imagined these extinct animals? Angkor Wat is the only mountain temple in Cambodia, with its main entrance facing west, towards the setting sun. This layout creates a sense of grandeur for visitors entering the temple, with the magnificent temple complex standing out against the dazzling sunlight, especially at sunset. Every year, on the equinox days around March 20th and September 20th, tourists can witness a unique phenomenon. The sunrise on March 20th and sunset on September 20th align perfectly with the highest tower of Angkor Wat when viewed from the temple's main entrance gate. Only on these 2 days can the sun enter precisely at that position. If it were merely a coincidence, it couldn't happen annually. How could the Cambodians 900 years ago identify the equinox phenomenon and construct Angkor Wat with such precision? Why is there another structure depicting the Hindu sun god seated in the center, with 9 figures sitting below, clasping their hands and looking up at him? This implies that the true owners of these temples wanted to depict the solar system, including the Sun and the 9 major planets revolving around it. However, it's worth noting that Uranus was only discovered about 400 years ago, while Neptune was not discovered until 1930. Neither of these planets could be seen with the naked eye without a telescope. So how did Cambodian sculptors 900 years ago possess accurate astronomical knowledge and even have telescopes to observe these new planets in the solar system? This knowledge truly surpasses human understanding and development. In the 8th century, there must have been an extraordinary civilization capable of bringing forth such knowledge. It would be equivalent to or even surpassing the civilization we possess today. Perhaps it was a civilization from outer space. In 2007, an international team of researchers used satellite images and other modern techniques to conclude that the Angkor complex was the center of the world's largest pre-industrial city. This city had a complex infrastructure system, connecting a vast urban area ranging from 1,000 to 3,000 square kilometers to the famous temples in the city center. It was considered a hydraulic city due to its sophisticated water management system, which was used to stabilize, store, and distribute water systematically to serve the production and livelihood needs of a population ranging from 750,000 to 1 million people. If this city truly existed in the 1100s, then undoubtedly the Khmer Empire was the most powerful nation in the world, and their civilization would have been passed down to this day. But clearly, that's not the case. Therefore, it can only be suspected that the pre-industrial city with Angkor Wat as its predecessor is a prehistoric city built by those who appeared before our civilization 5,000 years ago. So, Who the real owner of Angkor Wat is still a mystery. It is very likely that part of Angkor Thom is also prehistoric structures. The lower quality and durability of the new constructions of Angkor Thom by the Khmer kings made it impossible for later generations to distinguish the truth. This is similar to the case of the Egyptian pyramids. Water flows, stones erode, and a layer of dust of time can either keep some gruesome truth hidden or make structures gradually disappear. But it seems like Angkor Wat is an exception. Despite the vicissitudes of history and the changes over time, this structure still stands there, existing alongside the lunar phases. And regardless of who built it, now it belongs to us, the people living on this planet. If one day the mystery of Angkor Wat is brought to light, it may change the course of humanity. Do you believe in the hypothesis that the greatest treasure of archaeology today, Angkor Wat, is the product of a civilization outside our planet that we are living in? Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments section below. And for now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.